That's the brand new single from Sophie Ellis-Bextor. It's called Hypnotised. It's such great wonky pop. Hi, Sophie.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Good to talk to you again. What a great track.
Thank you very much.
Where did it spring from?
So it's a collaboration with a producer called Watto, who contacted me a couple of years ago with this track. So obviously we were in and out of lockdowns at the time, so we kind of finished it all off remotely, and then the time was right to bring it out into the world.
It's almost haunting, isn't it, in the way that it works?
It's really clever. I mean, I can say that because I didn't write it, so I'm not sort of blowing my own trumpet. I just think it's a really clever song because it's in an unusual time frame for pop music anyway, and then it kind of picks you up and twirls you around, and it's got this sort of slight mania in it, which I really like. And the power of the lyric keeps going from sort of being on the back foot to being very powerful. You kind of keep going from one to the other, so it's got this, as you say, wonky feel to it, which very much appeals to my pop sensibilities.
Absolutely. You mentioned lockdown and the pandemic there and so on, but one of the things that you did during that was the kitchen disco, which really seems to have developed a life of its own, doesn't it?
Well, the lovely thing about that is that it was kind of the other side, half of the promise I made, really. So when we were doing the kitchen discos during lockdown, obviously it was a really extraordinary time in our lives, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And so having these discos on a Friday night where people were coming over to the house, you know, albeit virtually, was a really amazing community to be part of. But I was missing people and gigs and all those things very much. So from about halfway through, Richard and I thought it'd been amazing if we ended up doing these discos, but with people, in front of people, under the same roof or under the same sky. So that's really what's been happening for the last couple of summers while we've been back to work, and we took it on a UK tour in March, and it's been really special. And I love the community that's come out of the discos.
Sophie, I always, when we're talking about you, I always say, oh, I've known her since the audience days. So I remember talking to you, interviewing you several times actually at venues when you're in the audience.
Yes.
And does that sometimes feel like a different kind of metamorphosis?
I think I just think of the time in the audience as being like my crash course into learning so many things I needed to know for like the rest of my life, really, in terms of my day job. So I started singing at 16. We were signed by the time I was 18. A lot of hype, a big whirlwind, and then dropped by the time I was 20. And that was also within 4 years. I experienced so much of what the music industry had to offer. But also, it's where my sensibilities are. You know, I'm an indie kid at heart, really. It's never really left me. So I think I've sort of used that as a basis to build. Even my dance and disco has still got an indie heart running through it too, which I think it's just all in there, really.
I never knew you dropped. Was that a difficult thing to take at the time?
It was literally the hardest thing that I've gone through, I think, in terms like professionally, just because all my girlfriends had gone off to university and were doing the thing that was more expected of, you know, time we were at, and then I'd gone off and done my own thing, which was incredibly exciting. And then it left me kind of high and dry at 20, not really sure what I was going to do. In a way, I really cite it as being a really significant thing because it's what made me decide to be a singer no matter what. I thought, well, I don't just want to be someone that does this just when the going is good. You know, if I really care about what I'm doing, I'll do it come hell or high water, really. So it actually consolidated and sort of crystallized my relationship with music and with singing. And I think once you've experienced everything going really badly wrong, it just gives you a little bit more armour when it comes to doing something where it might not work out. And I think it's sort of been quite a useful thing to experience that, really, but it was very hard to go through at the time.
Interesting, though, that it did, I think you're saying toughen you up and just give you a different outlook on life, though, isn't it, really? It's often the way with those troughs in life that they do toughen us up, don't they?
Yeah, and it also made me think, well, I don't really want to be answerable to other people. I don't want to be one of those people who can blame things not going the way I expected on someone else. I'll just deal with it myself, and I'll make choices that make me happy, and if they don't work out, it's easier to live with that. And actually that kind of set the framework for how I approached everything I did solo. But yeah, I went solo by default. I was a singer with no band. Groovejet kind of picked me up and spun me about and introduced me to a whole other world out there, which was really unexpected, but a massive adventure. And I'm very, very grateful to that song because it sort of reframed everything.
And Groovejet, like so many of your other songs, is timeless. It still gets played so heavily, doesn't it, on the radio? What is it about your music, Sophie, do you think, that gives it this quality that means that it feels fresh forever?
Oh, well, that's very lovely, and I definitely don't have any answers. I think I've just been very fortunate. I suppose with Groovejet, when I first heard it, it was an instrumental track, and I think there was something inherent in the music that I always loved as well. So I suppose the song just had something about it, really, and I just came along at the right time to kind of take it to the bit where it needed the melody and vocals. And so I still have a very good relationship with that song. But same with, songs like Murder and Take Me Home and all stuff from my first album, which I still sing now. I'm on good terms with all those songs. I really like them. I liked them back then and I like them now. So I'm just really grateful that other people seem to still quite like them too, because that's a real gift, when you've got the sun shining and the sky is blue and then put Murder on the dance floor on and everybody's got their hands in the air. It's just really lovely feeling.
I've seen a lot of the photographs of festivals this year and you seem to pop up so often on them, and you're right, you've given people the time of their lives in the summer of 2022. And we all needed it as well, didn't we?
Well, I know I did. I think sometimes I've come out with maybe a little scary amount of enthusiasm, really, because I kind of spring out on stage. And I love what I do anyway, but this summer in particular, I've really been trying to drink it in, because I think coming out and seeing thousands of people and everybody's in such a good mood, and what we're doing is having a fun disco together. So it's the whole intention is just to have a lovely time and to dance together and have fun. So I've just been really going for it. I've been having a lovely time.
Every time I've seen you live from day one, you've always gone for it, Sophie. Thank you so much for being here. It's great to talk to you again. Congratulations on Hypnotise as well. Sophie Ellis-Bextor, thank you.
Thanks so much. Lovely to talk to you as ever.
The Beat. BBC Radio Nottingham.